Hey friends, welcome to One Little Coder's weekly roundup of AI news. Once again, I've tried to curate the not so obvious news. Let's get started. The first news that we're going to discuss today is from Anthropic. It's not about a model, but it is about a technique. So traditionally, decomposing neural networks is a hard task. And even not even neural networks, a lot of companies still use linear regression and logistic regression to do the prediction task because those are easy to interpret. Like you can explain a human being what is happening there. But if you go to a model like an XGBoost or Random Forest, which are ensemble models, it's very hard to interpret what is happening there. And this problem is much bigger, and we call it black box models in the deep learning world. And that is where a paper like this from Anthropic is quite helpful, because what Anthropic has tried to do is they've tried to decompose the neural layer of a transformers model and try to understand or create features that are interpretable. So traditionally, if you say take a neuron and then you try to understand what is happening in that particular neuron, that one neuron might have influence from a lot of different things. It could have influence from, let's say, a particular word called school. It could have influence from another word that is completely unrelated, maybe like like music, or it could have influence from completely another word. So if you just simply look at neuron activations, it's very hard to understand what this neuron activation is trying to do. And that is where Anthropic has tried to create something called decomposing language models with dictionary learning, and they call this process monosemanticity, because like what I described right now, that one neuron gets affected by or influenced by a lot of other totally different aspects, is called polysemanticity. So they're trying to go towards monosemanticity, and that's what they're trying to do with decomposing the large language models with dictionary learning. And if you see this paper, it has a lot of different details, but there are certain things that I would like to highlight from the start. Like if you see the summary of the results, the sparse encoders extract relatively monosemantic features. So this has been a problem always. Even if you try to look into the neural networks like layers, you would not always get monosemantic features, because you always were looking at polysemantic features because of polysemanticity. What they've tried to do is they've tried to extract relatively monosemantic features with the sparse autoencoders, which is what they're calling as the dictionary learning method. So they have used a sparse encoder to extract a large number of interpretable features from just one layer of a transformer. And that is the most important thing of this paper. Like if you want to take one thing away from it, this is the most important thing. Now the sparse autoencoders produce interpretable features that are effectively invisible in the neuron basis. Like we discussed, if you look at only the neuron, at the neuron level, you cannot say that this neuron can influence a language learning. This neuron can influence, let's say, like grammatical learning. So at the neuron level, it is mostly invisible, but at the sparse encoder level, this can produce interpretable features, and that is more effective, and it is also not available at the neuron level. The next one is sparse encoder features can be used to intervene or steer transformer generation. I think this is something that I was like very interested in seeing. If you see this, by using the intervention, which with the dictionary learning, you can use that intervention to steer the transformer into one particular direction. Like for example, without any intervention, it looks like this. But when you use the Chinese intervention, you can generate only Chinese text. You can use Arabic intervention, you can generate only Arabic text. You can use Hebrew intervention and you can only get Hebrew text. I think this is a very important thing. For example, if you want like only DNA sequence to be encoded at the end of it, you can use that intervention and get only DNA sequence. I think this is quite a breakthrough, which from the existing transformers model itself, they could do it. So this is quite an interesting thing that they have managed to do it. And they've got a lot of other things that you can go and read about what this is doing. I might probably do like a separate video altogether about this, but this is quite an amazing, great research to understand what is happening inside the neurons whenever these neurons get activated or firing. We have seen this in the stable diffusion world. Sometimes people look at neuron activations to understand what part of image is getting highlighted. This has been a technique even in the computer vision world that has happened before. But taking a transformers model, dissecting them and taking one particular layer and looking at the layer, not at the neuron level, but creating like a sparse autoencoder based on dictionary learning and doing it, I think it's a really good that they have published this work. Definitely go check it out. So the next one is about Meta AI. You all know that recently Meta AI came with a lot of generative AI features, including chatting with your favorite celebrities on Instagram and WhatsApp. And I don't know, like, if you have got these features already. We recently got to know that Meta is paying a lot of money to these creators, to these celebrities, for using their likeness on chatbots. For example, if you want to, let's say, chat with Tom Brady, I honestly do not know who is Tom Brady. Okay, NFL great. Okay, so if you want to chat with Tom Brady, you can use I think WhatsApp or Instagram and then chat with them like how they would chat. And this is basically an AI model. I think even Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, is being included in this thing. But Meta AI is paying money to them to actually use their avatars and characters and the style. It's a good thing in certain way, but it is also, again, taking the existing media setup and then putting into AI in a different way. I'm not sure what kind of implications it might have in content reproducibility and fine tuning and training and all these kind of aspects. We have seen in the past how certain actors didn't want their material to be used or to be used to fine tune AI models. But anyways, Meta is spending a lot of money, like lot of money. And I'm not even sure how they're going to get this money back. Like, imagine like you're chatting with somebody on WhatsApp or Instagram. How is Meta going to make money out of it? I don't know, except that they're paying a lot of money. Next one is an exclusive news about OpenAI. It's still like a rumor that OpenAI is planning, or at least planning, to make their own AI chips. I definitely encourage this step. Like, I've always asked this question in the past, that why don't we have another NVIDIA competitor who can have their own chip, have something like a CUDA bridge and then do something. And I think in the world of GPUs, heavily dominated by NVIDIA, I believe that we need more chip makers. I always welcomed when Apple launched Apple Silicon, having their custom SoC. It is a good thing, but OpenAI, I don't know. So anyways, OpenAI wants to make their own chips, AI chips, one, to reduce reliance on NVIDIA, two, also to have more control about their chips, which is always a good thing. And you've all heard about this saying that if you want to write your own software, you better write it on your own AI hardware, like own hardware. But anyways, having like a symbiotic relationship between hardware and software always gives power to companies. And that's why you would see like a lot of automakers, especially people who make strong, big hardwares, they would always try to have their own software on their own hardware. But anyways, OpenAI wants to make their own AI chips. They're trying to build either their own chips or increase participation with NVIDIA, invest in companies that are like that can substitute NVIDIA. I like this direction, except that it is OpenAI. Next one is also from OpenAI, but slightly a weird one. OpenAI is talking with Johnny Ive. If you do not know, Johnny Ive is credited to be one of the greatest designers in the world, who designed iPhone, iPad, iMac. I'm not sure about iMac, iPod. So Johnny Ive's design has been like on the hands of millions of human beings, and OpenAI seems to be talking to Johnny Ive to build the iPhone of AI. And I think, like, I've alluded to this thing on multiple videos before. I see a strong similarity between OpenAI and Apple generally. The way, they're secretive, in the way they're doing things, in the way they think about consumerism more than just simply about research, and the way they market their products, the way they do supply chain, like taking the products to the last mile and giving it to the users. And very off late, I started thinking that ChatGPT is almost equivalent to iPhone, where Apple keeps on adding new incremental features to iPhone. OpenAI is adding new incremental features to ChatGPT. So this is a very interesting direction. Coupling this with the previous news, it almost feels like OpenAI has decided that they have to enter the hardware game, and they are looking at the avenues of hardware game. Why also this is quite an interesting time to have an iPhone of AI is, one, the iPhone growth is extremely stale at this point. At this point, you see an iPhone, the previous iPhone and the current iPhone, it's just that the camera would have improved, the chip would have improved. You would not see nothing great. I said nothing because there is another smartphone called Nothing that came with like glyph icons, but you don't see a lot of innovation on smartphone. And even the latest Google Pixel, you would not see huge innovation on the hardware side. Rather, you would see a lot of software innovation, mostly AI driven, like you can remove images and all these things. So as AI get more deeper into these smartphones, it makes sense for OpenAI to get into this business. But I'm not sure, like, having this being like a huge commitment, I'm not sure like how OpenAI might get into the hardware business. Maybe they're going to tie up with somebody, because that's what Amazon has been doing in the AI space. So let's see what is going to happen. This is one of the coolest thing that I've seen in the recent past. And you all know, like, Open Interpreter, we have covered on this channel. Killian, who is the creator of Open Interpreter, shared this recently, that there is a VTuber, virtual YouTuber, which means a human doesn't make the video. There, you've got like programs, you have like faceless YouTube channel, like virtually completely, is powered by Open Interpreter. You can see here. Workspace up. I think this is Japanese language. I guess this is Japanese from the look of it. And I'm not sure like what they're saying. Like, if you know, please let me know. But it almost seems like, you've got like a YouTube channel that analyzes talks and then makes some kind of suggestions. And I can see like a bunch of live chat as well. I don't know, again, if it is bot or real human. But this is quite an impressive thing in the technology side of the world. But also, it's, as a creator, like, I'm always skeptical like of how AIs will make video. But anyways, like, if you just simply look at it, it looks like Open Interpreter, a simple solution that we can run on our local machine, that we have covered on this channel extensively before, is actually powering a AI YouTuber. And the person who is running also open source the server, so you can go here and then click, and it's available on the GitHub link for you to use it. So you can go play with it. There is an English version. You can click this link here, and then you can also play with this, how to run this thing. But I'm not sure like what to run with this thing. I'm definitely interested in looking forward to try it extensively. But this is quite an impressive news, where the AI is actually creating content for somebody else on YouTube. The next one is something that we have already covered on the channel extensively. Once again, it is stable LM 3 billion parameter model that is coming from Stability AI, the company that has been releasing a lot of open source tools in recent time. And they have released this model with a permissive open source license, except that you need to give them attribution, but you can use it anywhere you want. You can take it, modify the work. The models are already available on Hugging Face Model Hub. A lot of you have asked me to create a fine-tuning tutorial of the same, which I need to still put together. But at this point, the pitch that they're making is, this is a smaller model, so it is easier for you to get this LLM into the smart devices. Definitely looking forward to see how this future is going to look like. But we have got stable LM 3 billion parameter model, which is quite an interesting smaller size model. Now is the time to talk about Mistral 7 billion parametered fine-tuned models. Technium, who is one of the most prolific model fine-tuners, have released a new model called Mistral Trismegistus. It's the first model that has been trained on esoteric, spiritual, occult, wisdom traditions and all the paranormal stuff. And it has been trained with 35,000 instruction pairs. And I've not tried this model. Probably somebody is going to make like an AI guru, spiritual guru with this model, which is a very it's a space where you have a lot of money. AI-based meditation tools, AI-based spiritual guru. I think you have a lot of money in this space, especially when people are, going through depression and all these kind of things. And sometimes, you want like somebody to listen to you, but you don't want that person to use this against your vulnerability or some other day. I mean, you're always skeptical, right? Who do you share this with? I don't know if this has like a potential to be that one, but I'm definitely looking forward to try. I saw a couple of responses. These responses looked really good, really deep. It has that deep, the philosopher kind of, like the spiritual guru kind of tone. But again, definitely try out this model. This model is already available on Hugging Face Model Hub from Technium, which is called Mistral Trismegistus 7 billion parameter model, which is going to be the AI occult or spiritual model from Technium. The next one is once again from Technium. It's a collective cognition V1.1 Mistral 7 billion parameter model. So a collective cognition 1.1 is the state of the art mind model fine-tuned using Mistral approach. And you can see the benchmarks. The model has been extremely doing good on a lot of benchmarks. For example, if you see truthful QA scores by the model ranks much ahead of a lot of other models between the 70 billion parameter model. This is just a 7 billion parameter model, but you can see the model being ranked quite at the top, even like beating Open Orca and a lot of other models, even Cynthia. And I mean, benchmark is one thing, but trying out the model will always give you like a really good visibility about how the model is doing. The model it was just trained for 3 minutes on a single 4090 with the Q-LoRa that competes with 70 billion scale. I think the like if you leave everything out and see the most important aspect, like how quickly you can fine tune these models, and then how quickly you can have a derivative model that actually does a really good thing. Like it does one thing that is good. Imagine you want to build an AI company, and we have seen chat dev and all the other tools that helps you build like an AI company. Imagine you have an AI company and you don't want one AI to be everything. Like you want everything to be different. Any sports you take, any game that you take, any organization that you take, you don't want 10 people doing the same thing. You want 10 different people with a different skill set. That's where you can achieve a common goal. And I think like fine tuning these models for those purposes, like you can have a front end model, you can have a back end model, you can have a DevOps model, you can have a DBA model. I think that is a very impressive way to build like an AI team, which not a lot of people are doing at this point, to be honest. So I think this model is good. Of course, like I truly appreciate that the model is good, that in fact comes with Apache 2.0 license. But I think what this model tells us is you can have like a model that is narrowly trained on one thing and that can be exceptionally good at what it has been trained on. And this is not AGI, to be honest. Like we are not trying to build AGI here, but for whatever it is worth for AI, I think this is a really good approach, especially with lower hallucination. Continuing our Mistral 7 billion fine-tuned models, we have got a Mistral 7 billion Open Orca model. This is based on the Orca dataset, and you can see the model currently is on the second place in the Hugging Face Leader Hub at the time of this being released, and you can go ahead and then see all the details that you want to use. At the time of this model being released, you can see Mistral 7 billion Open Orca here. The average is 65.33, while the Llama 2 70 billion parameter scores an average of 66.8. We already saw on Truthful QA that the other model, the collective collection model did pretty good. But if you see the average, Mistral 7 billion Open Orca is doing good, even closer to the 70 billion parameters that are already available. And you can see a bunch of other benchmarks where this model is doing good. This is a model definitely I'm looking forward to try it out and make a video about. But in case if you already happen to use this model, let me know in the comment section what do you feel about. This is quite straightforward for you to use it, except that you just have to follow the Mistral prompt and chat template, and you have this model available. I would like to also give you a quick shout out to the Alignment Lab, which has been releasing a lot of good models. In fact, the newest Hermes, all the data sets. And if you want to join their Discord for you to learn more about Occult, this is something that I've been also planning to make a video about, but I could not until now. So definitely check out their Discord and try it out. But this is Mistral Open Orca Mistral 7 billion 8K model. The next one is a very interesting model. It's got interesting paper, to be honest. It's called Drive GPT-4 Interpretable End-to-End Autonomous Driving via Large Language Model. So we have seen a lot of agents or autonomous AI systems that use large language models as this communication bridge, like how humans talk to each other. When humans talk to each other, they use languages. The same way how humans use languages, we have seen researchers trying to build systems where the large language model represents the language part of it, and then you do certain things. What Drive GPT-4 is doing is they are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to have multimodal large language models use the visual that is around you and drive actually like a vehicle. And you can see the demos that they have provided here. So it actually looks at it and then says, okay, what is the current action of the ego vehicle? It says the car merges left as it drives down the road. Why does the vehicle behave in this lane? Behave in this way because the lane is open. Predict the spin and turning angle. It does it. And you can see more questions. Like you can see questions. What is the current action of the ego vehicle? And it goes on explaining what is it. You can ask additional questions. It is good. I'm not sure like if just using large language models alone will help a lot of this thing here. I mean, this is good for a paper because you take a couple of snapshots and then you feed into the model and then the model tries to do something. But I guess like self-driving is much harder problem than what we see. But it is very good to see how people are trying to use large language models in a context that we wouldn't even have otherwise thought about. So GPT-4, Drive GPT-4 is a paper from University of Hong Kong and bunch of other universities where they're actually trying to use LLM to have like an end-to-end autonomous driving system. I would love to see if this actually ever gets implemented into a car, which is good. It seems like quite a far away long shot, but the idea is really great. The next one is quite an interesting thing. Mr. Beast, a very popular YouTuber on the planet, has recently released a video saying that somebody has deepfaked his video on TikTok, and even TikTok's moderation platform didn't catch it. And he said a lot of people are getting this deepfake scam out of me, on our social media platforms are ready to handle the rise of AI deepfakes. This is a serious problem. I think this is a serious problem, and it's not a problem only with deepfake. I don't know how many of you know, around the time Elon Musk was going to take over Twitter's biggest problem was like bots. You would have seen like a lot of people coming and commenting that, hey, I'm an Elon Musk, send me $5, I'll send you $10 worth cryptocurrency. Even on YouTube, this kind of scam happens. Like on the comment section for a lot of popular YouTubers, you will go and see it would say, hey, connect with my WhatsApp, I'll give you $5, something like this. All the trying to imitate like the actual creator itself, like with the same photo of them, and they reply it. But deepfakes takes this game like completely to a new level. And I mean, creating deepfake is not even difficult these days. Like you can have like Google Collab. Google Collab actually prohibits you using Google Collab for deepfake, but a lot of people still intend to use Google Collab, and it's not a very hard thing for you to do it. And I think this was like where somebody was asking for money or give money. Anyways, it's a scam. But the question here is that how do we handle deepfake in the age of rising AI? I think it's a very broader question. I generally tell people, I think whatever technology you have, irrespective of, you have got like amazing technology that can detect deepfake or AI, I think it's ultimately the human mind and how human beings perceive. I have like a general notion to believe anything is fake until it has been proven otherwise. I tell my family members to treat it the same way. They don't do it. That's a different topic altogether. But at the end of the day, I think you need to treat what you see as something that is scammy or something that is not real until you believe, like you have like strong arguments that make you believe it is real. Especially with the Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT, I think everything looks glossy and real so easily. But I think having that bit of skepticism, which our schools do not teach, to be honest, like we teach STEM, we teach everything else, but we don't teach our kids to question. I think the ability to question and being skeptic is a really good thing in the age of AI. And yeah, that's a tip from me. But otherwise, I don't know who is going to handle deepfakes. Next one is from Microsoft. They have released a new paper with a model called ToRA. It's called a tool integrated reasoning agent for mathematical problem solving. And you can see that ToRA has been doing extremely good. When you compare it with the base model, the wizard math and all the other models that they've got, you can see ToRA being like really, really good here. So this is basically ToRA here. ToRA being really good. And the reason why ToRA is doing good is because what Microsoft has done is Microsoft has tried to make this model extremely only focusing on math solving abilities. ToRA is a series of tool integrated reasoning agents designed to solve challenging mathematical reasoning problems by interacting with tools, computation libraries, and symbolic solvers. This is a very similar approach what Google Bard has taken with Google Bard. So you go to Google Bard and ask a question, what is 2 plus 2? I mean, 2 plus 2 is not a question you want a large language model to answer. Rather, a simple symbolic calculator or symbolic solver can answer for you. So Google Bard takes that request, runs it in its internal Python engine, and then gives you back. It's a very similar approach, and they've released ToRA Code 34 billion parameter model. Is the first open source model that achieves an accuracy of something that exceeds 50% on math, which significantly outperforms GPT-4's chain of thought result, and is also competitive with GPT-4 in solving problems with programs. It's extremely good. Now you might ask a question like, what am I going to do with a model that is solving math problems? If you think like throughout the world, one of the reasons why still Nobel Prize exists, I don't know whether you respect it, whether you do not respect it, but Nobel Prize exists. And part of the reason why Nobel Prize exists is also because a lot of problems in this world are not solved. And those problems are still within separate domains. You've got like a lot of physics related problems, like where do you identify a wormhole? Can you travel interstellar? You've got these questions. You have math questions. And these questions, when you put together, this can solve a lot of different things that happen in the world. And I think that is where having large language models that understands this math, physics, and all these things and can solve problems is extremely important. Because like just from the outside, it would look like, hey, it's going to solve high school math. It's going to solve like computer science math, like the basic ones. But what if it can solve quantum computing? I mean, I am not sure whether it can, but I'm just saying like whenever I see these models, I don't just take them at their face value and then say, okay, this model is doing good addition, end of discussion. Because if you see how human beings learn, like we start with learning addition, subtraction, basic arithmetic, we move on, we move on, we move on. And if you see like somebody who's watching this channel who knows to do basic coding also, you have much more ability than any average human being around you. That is primarily because you learned this basic building blocks and you learned how to put them together. And I think like these models have the ability to become something like that once, but at this point at least, ToRA is just simply a tool integrated reasoning agents, and they're showing like how ToRA works. Like I said, like they've got like Python, and they've got this other things. Google Bard is doing the same thing. Within Google Bard, a lot of people are thinking about doing this. We have seen like AutoGen examples where you can use Python interpreter for certain aspects. It's a very interesting aspect. I'm definitely looking to dive deeper into this concept of using tools plus large language models, and let me know in the comment section what you feel about this paper. So this was a demo that was super viral on internet, and you can see without streaming LLM, with streaming LLM, without streaming LLM, it says out of memory, with streaming LLM, model continues streaming. A lot of people mistook this for infinite input context window. So you can even see here, the TLDR says, we deploy LLMs for infinite length input without sacrificing efficiency and performance. And just like that in the flash, you would think that, okay, that means I have like infinite context window. I can just keeping on keeping inputs, but that's not what it is. This helps you efficiently give input within the context window, but it just slides and takes it. Like as you can see here, they have shown different methods. Like there is dense attention, there is window attention, there is sliding window recomputation, and they have the streaming LLM, which helps you give the input continuously and get the output continuously without having to sacrifice on the performance. And it is still impressive, but it's just that it's not infinite context window, or probably it's the way you see it. And you can see they're claiming that this performs efficiently and also stable with longer text. And you can see the demo as well. It is quite impressive. And they've also shared the technique, how they have managed to do it. And you can learn to set it up yourself and then run it. I did not try it out yet. And but yeah, this has been like quite an interesting way to see how to use large language models as a streaming LLM without having to compromise on the model performance and efficiency. Definitely check it out. The next one is a very interesting paper from Arvind Narayan and Sayesh Kapoor. It's called Evaluating LLMs is a Minefield. That is something that we all resonate. So the presentation goes into the reason about a lot of these claims that are made online, like, oh, ChatGPT is getting worse. And what did they find? Like, why is it hard to measure, or why is it hard to evaluate LLMs, and what kind of problems right now we have in ML, the interpretation world, the reproducibility crisis. It goes on to a lot of details, and I don't think there is a talk on it, but at least it's a very interesting presentation for you to go through if you have like 10 minutes, and you can learn a lot about whether you'll trust a benchmark or not after watching this presentation. But it's interesting that people are talking about it, and definitely check it out. The next one is a paper that is exploring, can GPT-4 become your research reviewer? And I like it for the same reason why I like ToRA, because there are certain places where humans are the bottlenecks, and if you can replace or augment or supplement humans, or even complement humans with the AI, I think it has good potential. And this paper looks at the same thing. So can we have AI or large language models provide useful feedback on research papers? What you will find interesting is that the result of this. So they conducted a prospective study with 308 researchers from 110 US institutions in the field of AI and computational biology to understand how researchers perceive feedback generated by our GPT-4 system on their own papers. Overall, more than half, like 57.4% of the users found GPT-4 generated feedback helpful/very helpful, and 82.4% found it more beneficial than feedback from at least some human reviewers. Not saying humans are going to be replaced, but I'm just saying that this is a very interesting area. I'm not sure like why not a lot of startups are being built for interview feedback. This is some idea that I was recently working on. I'm not sure if it is ever going to become a SaaS because I don't have generally time. I also don't have like good front-end skills. But what I wanted to actually build is, can you have like an AI system where people can practice mock interviews? Right now, people pay a lot of money. There are a lot of mentoring websites that will just say, okay, I'll do mock interview for you and I'll give you a feedback. You pay me like $100 per hour. There are a lot of websites like this. Imagine you have a SaaS application where somebody can just do mock interview. It doesn't even have to be like face to face. It can be like a human chatting and then the AI is responding. I think the review part of human reviewers or AI reviewers reviewing humans, I think it's a very important area. And this paper proves that there is a good potential in the research field, at least, like, and humans are preferring AI reviewers more than human reviewers. I would definitely looking forward to see how this direction goes. And if you also like have any ideas in this particular space, definitely let me know. The next one is that very luckily got access to GPT4Vision in ChatGPT, DALL-E in ChatGPT, and I have extensive videos of trying different things already on the channel. Definitely check it out. But to quickly show you, let me take this, copy image, go here, paste it, default, sorry, I have to have default, paste it. What is this image? Then ask this question and it will immediately answer. I really loved GPT4Vision, and even DALL-E is quite good. But the biggest problem for me with DALL-E, to be honest, like I really like DALL-E. I really like certain things what DALL-E does, but the censorship is quite difficult to handle. It like I said, okay, I want a YouTube thumbnail with microchips. It says, oh no, I cannot create with microchips. I was like, okay, microchips are not allowed, anyway, you are not going to create it, but why is it so? When the moment I ask it, why is it not allowed? It's like, oh, sorry, I'm sorry for the confusion. There has been oversight in the processing and it has been allowed. Please bear with a moment. And once again, it gives an error. And once again, I go and ask why it is preventing. And once again, it responds. I think the censorship is quite off-putting. But other than that, I think DALL-E 3 is quite good. GPT-4 is amazing. The fact that I'm already paying like $20 to $23 per month every day, keeping ChatGPT alive, I started using DALL-E and GPT4Vision more. And I think a lot of people are going to use it. And it almost feels like OpenAI's way to train more models. And it also feels like OpenAI's way to keep the ChatGPT revenue stream up and running. Definitely check out the 2 videos that I've already published if you're interested in this. The next one is a new multimodal AI assistant from a company called Reka. The multimodal AI assistant is called Yasa 1. It's from ground, like from scratch. They have done the pre-training of the base models and also done this aligning and instruction. So Yasa comes with a lot of features. It's a multimodal model, including long context document processing, naively optimized retrieval augmented generation RAG, and multilingual support up to 20 languages, a search engine and a code interpreter. It's not an open model. It's not a model that is available for anybody to use, but still I wanted to cover this to let you know that this kind of thing happens in the world. And in the coming weeks, they are going to expand access to enterprise and organization partners. And you can see some of the examples here. So you have got like a model, you just say, plan a 3-day short trip to Singapore. It answers. Then you upload something, you say, explain the math, it does it. You take a Twitter advertisement and you ask a question, create a Twitter advertisement for this product, and it creates a tweet for you. And you upload a video and ask it to describe, it does it. It looks interesting, but I mean, it's good. The model exists, but if I were to put my effort in trying something, I'm going to try Qwen VL Chat more and all the other multimodal models that are available, including the most recent one that we covered a couple of days back. But this model exists, and Yasa 1 is there for more of enterprise use cases where you have like a multimodal AI assistant. Of this day is a new open source initiative from Deepmind. Deepmind, if you know, was like an individual entity within Alphabet, but Google sometime back integrated Deepmind with Google Brain and then created Google Deepmind, the AI institute or foundation of Google. And I've always had like good respect for Deepmind, but they were always not very open about what they did. And Deepmind has been always in the news with AlphaGo, AlphaFold that predicts the protein structure and all these kind of things. So what Deepmind has managed to do is, very recently they created something called OpenX embodiment dataset. It's a pulled data from 22 different robot types, different robot embodiments, and they've also created an RTX model. So this RT1 model has been also released. It's like a robotics transformer model, RT1X. It's a robotic transformer model. And if you go to the dataset project page, you can actually see what is the dataset overview, like what are the embodiments, like from which the 22 embodiments from which they have collected data, and what are the kind of things that the model can do, like the robot can do. RT2X, the 55 billion parameter model, it's one of the biggest models to date, performing unseen tasks in academic labs. Like you can see what kind of things that the robot is doing. Move red paper to tray. So it identifies red paper, moves it to tray, pick an ice cream, and you can see it trying to go pick an ice cream. Move red paper to A, so it can move red paper to A, and you have like more demos and more of these skills that are available as part of the data set, and the data set is also available. You can just go use the data set if you want to use it. It's a brilliant effort, I would say. I think if you see the entire AI space, there is not a lot of growth happening in the hardware space as much as it happens in the software space. And the hardware space is also the more scarier part, right? Like people are skeptical, more investment is required, the failure is higher because you're dealing with motors, circuits, lot more than just simply writing software. But it's well and good to see that there is like a global open initiative to create like an open part of dataset available for everybody to use. So you can go here and then see the data that is available. It's available in the Google Cloud if you want. And so it comes with a blog post, it comes with a paper, and it's a combined effort of a lot of this university, all of these logos. Truly appreciate this collaborative effort. I would definitely love to see something like this happen in the LLM world as well. But good that a lot of companies are still open sourcing in the LLM world with permissive license. But this is something that also a lot of people are being closed and not releasing a lot of things. Either way, the world requires both of these, the capitalistic or the socialistic mindset. And I hope this collection of news was helpful to you. And let me know your feedback about how the kind of articles that I've curated. I put in a lot of hours of effort in curating this article. So I'm always looking forward to feedback to improve my curation skills and also improve our collective knowledge in learning what is happening in the week in the world of AI. See you in another video. Happy prompting.